Hello, Westford Academy students. On Friday, October 16th, the Ghostwriter had the chance to interview some of the juniors running for election, and in some cases re-election on the student government. They talked about their plans for the 2021 school year if elected, as well as some of the qualifications for their position. Without further ado, let's get on to the video and see what they said.
All right, so I'm Alpana Bakshi, and I'm rerunning for class president.
I'm running for the position of vice president.
My name is Isha Macha, and I'm running for the position of vice president.
My name is Ankita, and I'm rerunning for the position of secretary.
My name is Urvi, and I'm running for the position of treasurer.
My name is Tanya Vasireddy, and I'm rerunning for treasurer.
Right, so I'm rerunning because when we kind of got out of school, we had a lot of things in plan. We had a lot of things that we wanted to do. And I really wanted to rerun to make sure that those ideas get like implemented in the full. I've been working over the summer with administration, with our advisors, and we've kind of been having a back and forth about what the new regulations are, what the new rules we have to follow are. So I have a really good sense of what we can and can't do. So I really think that I'm the best shot of our class, like actually like meeting realistic goals. So, I mean, kind of to go off on that and like talk about what my plans and policies are, I just really want to get back into doing like normal restaurant fundraisers and also seeing if we can socially distance school events like later on in the spring when the weather's better.
I'm running for the position of vice president because my freshman year, I actually ran for the position of treasurer, and I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed working with my fellow cabinet. And we like as freshmen, we didn't have that much to do because we were just incoming. We were trying to like test the waters of high school. And I feel like I have a lot of ideas and different fundraisers and different ways to unify our grade through my past experiences as leadership positions. And so I really think that I have many ideas for the position of vice president, and I'm excited to see what we can do.
So I'm running for vice president because I personally love working with people and getting involved with the community, and I love just interacting with others. And obviously because of the virus, the school structure has changed drastically, and it's continuing to change. So I believe that my ideas that I have to benefit the school, especially our grade, obviously, are really gonna give us, provide us more opportunities for the future. And due to the connections I have throughout my service hours and the different school events and like clubs that I partake in, I have a lot of experience with like community, like helping the community. So I think that with that, I can provide more resources for the students. And in terms of policies and goals, I really want to see more of like a connectedness with the students. We are united, but I feel like we really need more like more of a connection throughout our grade. We don't get a lot of participation in certain events. So I really want to make sure that everyone's opinions and voices are being heard, and that everything that I do is just going to be preparing the class for success for the future, and enjoying their time at WA as well.
So I'm rerunning for secretary because I honestly had the time of my life these past 2 years, and I've learned so much about myself and about the class that I was so lucky to work with, and that I was so lucky to work with some amazing people, the cabinet members. And I honestly like the challenge. I like how difficult it is to set up a fundraiser and to get people involved. And I also feel that I have learned a lot from being a class officer for 2 years. And I think, that's a lot of momentum that's been building up inside of me. And, we've been able to create really great ideas that unfortunately haven't been implemented yet. And so I just want to continue the good work that we've been doing. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So the main reason why I'm running is that I know for like the past 2 years, I felt like I want to I want to keep the student body more informed about like the information and the events that I am trying to fundraise for. for this following year, and I want to just bring our grade together with the events and activities that we do plan in the future. And obviously, we're going to have like COVID friendly events. So I feel like I want to keep the student body informed about those events that we plan, and I want to ask them if they're going to be willing to come to these events, because if they're not, then I feel like we want some feedback on that too.
So I'm rerunning because I really enjoyed being treasurer this year. I did enjoy, working with the administration, working with their local environment and being a part of the community and being part of WA. This year, I want to mainly focus on communication and fundraisers. I think those two things are super vital for this year, especially for cotil and prom and class activities. And as treasurer, I know that we deal a lot with money, and a big part of that is also with communication and making sure we're transparent with the student body, which I think we've been lacking in the past. And that's what I think has created sort of a rift in our unity. So hopefully this year we can unite more, even though we're not technically meeting. And I have a lot of ideas for these COVID-friendly fundraisers and COVID-friendly events, as well as ideas for our social media platforms and our websites to stay connected with everyone.
Right. So we did over the summer and like a little bit in the beginning of this year run into a bit of a block. I mean, we were told no to a lot of ideas, but since we know which ideas got shot down, I feel like we had a better sense of what we can do moving forward. So like setting up a class Venmo, which is something that we did, and like setting up like a Dropbox for money in the office and making it easier to like safely transfer money between like us and the student body and the student body and us, so that we can like deliver things when we sell things for fundraisers and stuff. So I think that we really worked out the kinks in that system. So yeah, I think that going forward, also like doing restaurant fundraisers, because there's no direct like transfer of money there. We just kind of encourage people to go to restaurants, and we have like an idea that we came up with is like doing a giveaway for like when people do go to these fundraisers. So hopefully that kind of makes more people like incentivized to come to these fundraisers too.
So because of COVID, we can't really do big fundraisers with like a lot of people, like the holiday bazaar and like car washes and other things that people usually do. So like right now, restaurant fundraisers are pretty vital to raise money for cotil tickets, because if cotil happens, tickets are going to be pretty expensive. You don't want people to spend a lot of money, because it's just a night for us as a class to have fun. And so I feel like restaurant fundraisers are going to be pretty important. And also just to spend like the next 2 years like as a class, because I've gotten so many people telling me that like our grades not as unified as past grades that have graduated or like other grades in our school right now. So just to like have friendly fundraisers that like have us like together to get to know each other better, and to get more people to come to these fundraisers and stuff, we could have like a raffle system that like of little prizes for different nights, like movie night, game night, of just like little prizes and stuff. So when people come to these restaurants, they can like give in money, and then we can put like their name down for a raffle, and we can pick it out and they get little prizes and stuff like that. So it gives them more of like a want to come, because they get like a little prize from getting food and stuff. So yeah, those are my kind of ideas for this year.
So obviously the main priority is keeping the student body safe and healthy before anything. So I think really sticking to more online fundraisers and like maybe doing events. Like I was thinking we could do like a drive-in movie where, students would remain in their cars, but, they could carpool with other people that, taking precaution obviously, but that's just one idea we had. I think that'd be a really good success. And I also think that we could create like GoFundMe pages where we would get like the class of 22s, like the parents and the students on there, and they could contribute whenever they can. And I think getting like parents and their friends to contribute as well would be really great. Another thing I had was, it might seem kind of cringy. I was thinking like a spelling bee or a GOB. or a triathlon. And it sounds childish, but it actually is a huge success in a lot of schools, and they get a lot of involvement with offering like a large prize at the end. It looks good on college apps. So that is another thing that I wanted to maybe try out. But another thing that I really want to mention is that I really want the students to, again, voice their opinions on these events that we plan, because I know like in previous years, there are certain things that, you know, the student council has planned and not everyone was a huge fan of it. And I think that making like mandatory like surveys that they could answer in their advisors or something like that, just so that we get like an idea on whether it's going to be a success or not, so that we don't have to waste our time on doing like taking the steps to make this fundraiser a hit when it's not really going to be a hit. So again, making sure that the students voice their opinion on these things.
So I think a big part of setting up fundraisers during this weird time is knowing what restrictions we had before this shutdown and knowing like what restrictions are going to be added. And so that's where I think, you know, experience definitely comes in handy, because you will be aware and like comfortable with what Dean Murphy has to say about how you set up these fundraisers. And, you know, also going forward, I think communication with the student body is going to be key, because not only do you have to worry about how safe everyone is going to be, but you have to worry about how safe people are going to feel at events. And that is definitely going to gauge differently when you look at the class as a whole. And so, you know, you can take feedback on, you know, what would you like to see? Where would a fundraiser would you like to see? But you also have to take a look at what kind of precautions would you feel comfortable in setting up and grounding. And you know, as far as like community building, I would also like to see us sort of transition into fundraisers for local restaurants, because, you know, that's where this economic impact has really taken a toll on them for. And so not only just, you know, uniting our class and our student body, but also being involved in the community. And so we give back not only to our class, but a little bit to Westford.
Since that we're not allowed to have fundraisers with a large amount of people because of the health and regulations of COVID, I was thinking that we could do fundraisers online. I know another candidate said this already, but we can have prizes to the people who fundraise a lot of money, and I feel like that would be a good motivation for people to fundraise. And this is a little like out of the blue idea, but we can also like sell merch, because I feel like if we have if we sell items about like our class and we make it so it's not ugly, it's things that people would actually want to buy, I feel like we can also fundraise in that way too and create money. And then the people can also wear the merch, so it's kind of promoting our class and uniting us as a grade in a way. And I know that we also did Panera and Chipotle as a couple of fundraisers these past couple of years. We can also include more restaurants that people are willing to go to and do a couple raffles too.
Yeah, so I mean, my points are basically covered by the rest of the nominees, but yeah, just a lot of fundraising this year is necessary, I think, for the funding for Cotil and prom and future senior activities. Like my previous nominees have said, like merchandise fundraising, raffles. I'm thinking like this kind of goes off of what Isha says of her like GoFundMe idea. I know that there was, I forget what it's called, but there was a website that DECA used that was a huge success. So I think by using that website and using incentives and raffles and giveaways, we could really get not only money, but also unity among the people. I think that along with all these fundraising and like to get more money, I think that marketing is super important, because in the past, I think that we've all had these great ideas. We just haven't been able to market them properly. And so people just haven't been able to know about it. So I think we should really prioritize the use of Instagram, and also Facebook, I think is like pretty like we don't use it that often, but I think it reaches out to the parents, which essentially is where most of our money is coming from. And also using our class website, which we don't use like at all. So I think that we should definitely not only fundraise, but market and create a sense of unity with our fundraising.
Right. So the biggest thing that I can think of, like right off the bat, is just experience. I've been on the board for 2 years now. I was vice president my first year, president my second year, and I kind of like know these certain ins and outs. Like for example, raffles are technically illegal in Massachusetts. So the ways to kind of get around that, and like which permits you have to apply for, which tax like forms that you have to come up with. I know all of these kind of little things that like it would take a lot of time for a new candidate to learn. So it's kind of crucial to have a board this year with experience, especially because of all these new regulations. So I think that that's something I bring to the table. Additionally, I do have like leadership roles outside of this as well. So I do know how to, lead a group of people, but not only lead them, but also like listen to what they're saying and their opinions. So like for speech and debate and for mock trial, I've been a big part of those two clubs and a leader for that as well. So just experience.
So I believe that I qualify for this position because I also have a lot of past experience in leadership positions. Like I mentioned before, I was the class treasurer my freshman year, so I know the gist of how the cabinet works and who to talk to for stuff and like how to just go on with the cabinet. And on top of that, I have leadership positions in other clubs within the school. I'm a DECA officer, so I can incorporate the things that I'm gonna learn from being a DECA officer into this position of vice president. And I'm also the secretary of HOSA, so I can also use the things that I learned from HOSA into being vice president. And also I love being part of the class 2022. I love people. I enjoy working with so many people throughout all my classes and everything. And I would just love to see everyone have a great 2 years, even with a pandemic going on. I feel like we can try to make the most of it, and I feel like we have to seek out the positive even in this really negative situation. So I really hope to enjoy the next 2 years, and I hope to help our junior class out by being vice president.
So I believe that I am qualified for this position because I am very determined and passionate about doing more for my grade, and I'm also very hardworking and respectful. I love hearing everyone's opinions. I'm a very good listener, so really getting people's ideas and input would be something that is gonna happen if I am elected. I'm also very positive and optimistic, so I'm always going to be encouraging people to try things that might be out of their comfort zone. And I'm saying this because college is in 2 years, so preparing people for that big thing is essential. I'm also very vocal. I have connections with over 30 plus organizations. I'm very involved in service. I have over 250 service hours and volunteered for almost 20 organizations. I'm also experienced in terms of like leadership. I am the Ghosts and Goblins ambassador. I'm the head of special managements for a online organization called AM14s. They have 300 plus volunteers, and I have worked with very large groups. So I believe that I'm qualified for this position because obviously the student body is huge. So being able to communicate with people is something that I'm not afraid to do and would be very good at. I'm also very involved in school. I partake in DECA, NHS, Speech and Debate, Project Purple. I'm also a part of Red Cross and Relay for Life. And essentially, I just want to do more for the students. And with my connections, I will provide you guys with more resources and opportunities that you might not have been able to find due to the pandemic. A lot of people have been discouraged because, they haven't been able to find certain volunteering locations or like get leadership positions because, obviously everything's closed or things are running a little slowly, and I have those connections and I'd love to share them with people and just essentially prepare you guys for the future, prepare you for success. And I want you to also enjoy your 2 years as well.
I think one of the things you'll notice is how all the people that have experience being part of a student body government have repeated again that experience is crucial, and there's a reason for that. And I think there was one candidate that mentioned, having fundraisers across more different types of restaurants, not just Panera and Chipotle. But I personally know that not all restaurants are willing to take fundraisers, and you need a tax identification code, and it takes time to set up. Also, knowing what time to start advertising prior to your fundraiser is something that we've sort of had to go, trial and error, because that was never really taught to us, right? So, experience is definitely one quality that takes time and is you learn from experience, basically. But one quality that I would probably bring to the table was knowing when you're wrong, because you can set your mind and do one thing over and over again, but if you don't step back and you don't ask questions, you'll never actually learn from what you've done. And so I think, me being a class officer for the past 2 years definitely adds to the table, because I will know, I know that doesn't work, or I know if we do this, it'll help us better. And just, learning across the years has really been helpful to me and is something that makes me qualified for this position.
So I'm qualified for this position because I can bring more creative ideas to the table, and I feel like that is very important with our situation this year with the pandemic. And since we can't do our normal fundraisers that we usually do, I feel like it's important to have more fun activities and more fundraising ideas that are more creative and like more online and virtual, because we can't have fundraisers with a large amount of people. And because of that, I feel like creativity is a really important aspect when it comes to it. And I'm also organized, which is crucial because we need to have a plan that we should be able to execute when it comes to fundraisers or events and activities just in general. And if we're not able to execute these plans, then nobody is really going to show up to our activities or events. And we want everyone to have a fun time because we're here to help the student body, and we're here to encourage them and unite them as a grade. So I can also apply my leadership skills to my position by listening to the people and the students, because I also feel like it's important to have feedback and criticism, not just on the events or the activities that we plan, but also as like how you're doing on that, as on your position. Because if you're not doing your role or your job as treasurer or any other candidate, then I feel like it's important that we have someone telling us that. And if the students don't tell us that, then how do we know when we're not doing our job?
So people keep on reiterating this because just like everyone else, I think it's super important, but experience. Like I had the experience of being treasurer last year for sophomore year and being on student council my freshman year. And it's just these little details that, you can only really know through experience. And I think there's a danger of having a completely new e-board this year. And that is starting from square one to me. Like, I think there should definitely I'm not saying it has to be me, but I definitely think someone on the e-board should have been a part of the e-board in previous years, because it is so difficult when you don't know every little nitty-gritty detail. I'm also the treasurer for Human Rights Club, so I also have that experience with managing money, and I'm a part of field hockey and speech and debate and DECA. So I think I also have a well-rounded group of people I hang out with. I like to listen to, not just one group or one certain group of people at WA, but to a lot of different people and get those different perspectives. I also think that this year, more importantly than any other year, we have to be well versed with technology, which I honestly think I am. I've been recently taking charge of the Instagram page and I've been making the posts, and I think I've been doing a good job. But and I created the website or class website, and it's just things like that where I think technology is going to play such a huge role this year. So we just need to be able to utilize that to its full extent.
Thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you keep what the candidates said in mind when voting on Wednesday, October 21st during advisory.